Today we are reviewing the brand new 2025 Kia EV9 GT, which is the highest trim option available for the EV9, and it's actually one of 3 SUV EVs that are available. Now, can this compete with the Tesla or the Rivian? Let's find out. All right, now I'm behind the wheel of the brand new 2025 Kia EV9 GT edition. This is the highest trim available, like I mentioned, for the EV9. You know, so there are some things that you gain with it. It basically has every feature available on the EV9, but there's also some things that you lose. So let's find out what those are. Starting on the outside, you've got this blue paint, and I actually think it looks really good on it. Usually I'm not a fan of this style of blue, but on this vehicle, it goes well with it. But starting in the front, you do have LED daytime running lights, but you've also got very unique headlights, and also built into the grille are like these LED patterned lights that you can't see until the vehicle turns on, or if like you hit the unlock or lock button. They're really unique, to say the least. And actually, if you go in your settings screen, you can change them too, to how you see fit. But I think the headlights on this look absolutely phenomenal, and I love the touch of those like square LED lights that are built into the front end. I mean, it looks really cool. You don't see anything else like it. Now on the lower end of the grille, you do have a like an airflow vent, but it can be opened or closed, and it's automatic. Now moving along to the side profile once again looks great. You've got paint matched side view mirrors with a little bit of black on them, and now I've also got some lights built in, but they look good. You've also got 21-inch wheels. Now they do have like that Tesla style cover on them, but the difference is you cannot remove this cover. It's just kind of there. Maybe in the future they'll add something on to where you can remove it or something like that, but yeah, as of now you cannot. Now the door handles are also something that is somewhat unique, I guess. When you lock the car, the side view mirrors, they fold in, and all the door handles go in. You know, actually we did test it, and if you're like, you say your child's hand gets like, he's still holding it and you lock the car or something, it doesn't do anything. It just very lightly sits there until you remove your hand, and then it will close the rest of the way. Now moving along to the rear of the car, once again, you've got these very big tail lights, and they kind of got like nice jagged line to them. I just think they look good. The back looks great. On the roof, you do get some roof rails in case you need to put stuff on top of your SUV. So it's always a nice addition to have. There are some special features that you can turn on if you want. Like if you are approaching the rear end of the car and you have the key in your hand or in your pocket, the back hatch will automatically open up. There's also some settings, like if you remote start the car, you can hold down a button on the fob and you can park it into a space or out of a space by holding down a button. So that's kind of neat. I mean, I don't really see why you would use it too often unless you want to like kind of inch closer to something, you know, when you're trying to park and you want to be standing on the outside to see it. But it's a nice party trick, at least, I guess. Getting into the interior of the car, it's actually very nice. Now, if you don't want a $75,000 car that's covered in plastic, this might not be for you, because there is a lot of plastic. It's synthetic leather and plastic everywhere you look, but it looks great. You know, it feels pretty good. So let's get into it. On the left-hand side, you've actually got a series of buttons on the upper end of the door panel. One is for your steering wheel heater, one is for your seat ventilation or seat heating, and then you've got different memory seats, and then also you have this like ergonomic or massage button. So like while you're driving, it'll kind of massage your butt. It's supposed to help like stop you from getting restless while you're driving. Below that, you do have very typical buttons such as your window controls, your side view mirror controls. You can pop the mirrors in and out there, as well as your child safety button. So, you know, very standard, nothing you really have to hunt for. Really, the interesting things is the buttons with your ventilation and butt massaging. Moving on to the steering wheel, you've got a plethora of buttons there. You can change your modes, your voice assistance, volume control, track selection, calling. You've even got a favorites button. And on the left side, it's more of your driver's assistance buttons. So you can enable or disable or turn on your cruise control, things like that. Behind the steering wheel, you do have 2 paddles, but they're not what you think they're for. You know, normally you see those and it's for shifting. Well, remember, this is electric, so you're not shifting in this car. What they are for, however, is to turn the regenerative braking up or down. So you can actually do one pedal driving in this. One thing that is unique about the EV9, and it actually stumped me for a minute when I first got into it, at the bottom is where your power button is and your drive mode selector. Typically, you know, you have it on the front dash or in the center console area, but here it's like a third stalk that's coming off, and that's where you control it. And you don't press up and down or anything like that. You actually twist the end. It's very strange. I don't know, maybe some people like it. Me personally, I would rather have the button either in the center or on the dash. It's a lot, I don't know, it's just more natural, I guess. One thing that Kia is really starting to win me over with is their infotainment screen. In the Telluride, it was okay, you know, and this is basically an EV version of the Telluride. You have 2 12.3-inch displays, and it's basically made into one giant 30-inch display, but it's kind of sectioned off, so I guess that's why it's 2. So you've got a digital gauge cluster, and then you've got your infotainment screen on the right, and in the center of those is where you actually have your HVAC controls. Once again, the HVAC is actually touchscreen, at least part of it, and then you do have a good portion that's physical, which we'll get to. But the touchscreen on this infotainment screen is extremely responsive. It might actually be the most responsive one that I've tested yet. Of course, you have your digital gauge cluster, and you can modify it. You can switch through your modes. You've got eco mode, normal mode, sport mode, snow mode, and my mode. So what that means is you can actually go in and customize a mode a bit to what you like. You do also have a heads-up display, and it's about what you would expect. I do think it's a lot better than the Tellurides. I was not a big fan of the Telluride heads-up display. Also, within your digital gauge cluster, when you turn on your turn signals, like the Telluride, once again, you do get your blind spot cameras, so it comes up right on the left or on the right, you know, depending on which direction you pick. Now, moving above the infotainment center, you do have both a regular rear view mirror and also a digital rear view mirror, so you can cycle through those. If you've got 4 Uncle Steves in the back and you can't see out the window, well, you can just set it to the digital one, and there you go, no problem. And also, if you want to talk to Uncle Steve in the back, this does have passenger talk too, and from what I've been realizing, it actually works quite a bit better than the other Kia passenger talks that I've seen. Above that, you've got your SOS button, your dome light controls, the controls for both your sunroof and the shade in the back, because you have a large panoramic sunroof that goes over the second and third row. Now, it doesn't open, but hey, it's great to have that. I love all the natural light. Beneath the infotainment screen, you've got like these tactile touch sensitive buttons, you know, not a whole lot of physical buttons. Actually, there's literally like 9. There's 9 physical buttons. Everything else is touchscreen, and that's it. So you've got your home button, your map button, search button, media, favorites, and a setup button. Now, even though it does have the map button, I'm sure none of you are going to be using it because this does have both wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And below those, of course, you've got your air vents, which you kind of slide around and however you want. They're really smooth and they blow a lot of air. You've also got your volume knob, temperature up and down, fan speed up and down, mode, temp for your passenger, because this is dual climate, or this is actually tri-climate because you do have a rear climate as well. You have 2 USB-C ports and a button to control if you want to turn an outlet on or off. And what's interesting is the button on the USB port on the left, actually you can enable it or disable it between data and power or just power. That's interesting. I've never seen that before. And then you've got a giant storage compartment on the ground here. It's really big. Right now we've got a bunch of stuff in it, nothing spilling over. Really nice to have. Underneath that, there's like some nice ambient lighting. Again, you've got like 36 different colors you can set this to. So basically whatever you like and fits your personality, you can basically do it. Above that, next to our eggplant, you've got kind of like this garage door style cover that covers up, it's either a storage container or you press a button and it flips open and you've now got a cup holder. Behind those, you do have a auto hold button, a downhill acceleration control button, your camera view button, and your parking sensors. To the left of that, there is something that a lot of you might be wondering what the heck it is. It's actually a fingerprint scanner. And what it does is, like, say, of course, you and your wife both drive the vehicle, right? And you've got your specific setups, whether it be for the seats or the drive mode, or maybe it's just how you like all the colors and everything to be. So you scan your fingerprint, it'll automatically go to your mode. And also, if you have that set up, you can start the car with it. You do also have a wireless charging pad, and there's kind of like this orange light that lights up when you place your phone in it and it's charging, so you don't have to try to hunt for it and see if you can find it, because it just lights up. Then you've got a nice, like, it's leather wrapped, synthetic leather, but it's leather wrapped center console or armrest, whatever you want to call it, with a very small amount of storage inside. Now, the front seats on this, for being synthetic leather, they are surprisingly comfortable, and they actually look pretty good too. They've got like a white with a black inside, you know, it looks good. And it's actually pretty soft. I think over time it'll get a little bit softer. And when you put it in sport mode, of course, like, you know, other cars, so you may expect it, but the bolsters kind of hug you a bit and hold you into place. And then when you go into like normal mode or eco mode, they kind of release, let you be a little bit more loose. But yeah, they're actually pretty comfortable. And man, the headrest on this is one of the softest headrests I've ever seen in my life. And that is because it's like one of those, you know, ergonomic office chairs, how they're like netted nowadays. That's exactly what this is. It's got a net, and that's this headrest, but it's extremely comfortable. Now, all of the seats in this, except for the third row, are powered. So you do get about 12 zone control on all of the seats, and they do have like kind of this little lazy boy footrest that comes up if you want. The passengers, they can put theirs in and out while driving, but you know, the driver can only put theirs in, so you better get that set up before you get on the road, otherwise it's not going to work. Getting into the back, this is more of like a minivan in the sense that it has the captain's chairs. There is an option to have a third row bench seat, but I'm pretty sure just about everybody is going to pick the captain's chairs because they're just better. I remember seeing the commercials where the captain chairs in the second row would like spin all the way around. Well, it turns out that's actually not a thing. So maybe in a different model in a different country, they are able to do that, but this one here, it's not spinning around. In the center, you do have climate controls in the rear, so that's great. You've also got like this table that pulls out, which is pretty cool. And then if you like slide, if you hold the bottom and slide the top part, you've also got a giant container to hold, whether it's your charging cables, snacks, maybe some Kleenex. You know, it is a family vehicle, so whatever you and your family need. On the windows, you do have sunshades, which is awesome. Now, Uncle Steve does fit pretty decently in this car. You know, at least in the front, he fits great. There's tons of adjustability. Even for him being 7'8", he can really get into the front. But when we cram him into the back, that's when Uncle Steve starts to complain. He was kicking and screaming and fighting his way out of there. And, you know, I told him, hey, you only got to get back there for a minute. But nonetheless, if you've got a family or something like that, kids will fit wonderfully back there. There's a strap that you can pull on to recline the seats a little bit. Like I said, the second row is both heated and ventilated. They've got the little lazy boy footrest or leg rest, and that's awesome. The only problem is if Uncle Steve is driving and you've got another Uncle Steve behind him, it's going to be really cramped. Now, as far as cargo space goes, this does have 20 cubic feet of cargo space if you have all the rows laid down. So there is plenty of space. Now, one other thing that I do really like is like the contrasting elements that the door panels have. So the line that goes from your door handle to get out of it, it's kind of got this silver continuation running all the way through inside of the like soft gray that it's outlined in. And then towards the center of the section, there's like a netted gray and white area just to give it like some special looks, and then a giant metal or aluminum grill cover for your speakers. As far as power connectivity goes, every single seat in here gets a USB-C port, so all the power you need. In the back, you also have a 3-prong outlet like your home outlet. Now, as far as drive feel goes, this is a very comfortable ride. It's like like driving a cloud. It's whisper quiet. You barely hear that, you know, when you drive a Tesla, you get that whine, like you can hear those electric motors really working. You don't get that so much in this. It's there a little bit, but not really. But anyways, there's like no wind noise. Visibility is fantastic. Even though the windshield is slightly raked back towards you, I could still see just about everywhere. The only thing is the headrest here. If you try to look over your shoulder, you do kind of lose a little bit of visibility there. But the A-pillars, or the pillars, are pretty good size, and yet they don't hinder anything. I don't feel like I've got blind spots everywhere. I've got great visibility all the way around in this full-size SUV. And with how adjustable the car is in terms of settings, you can basically tune it to how you want it to feel. There's like 8 different modes of the regenerative braking. You can alter how your actual brake pedal feels. So it's very tunable. You can get it exactly how you like. All right, now we're doing 0 to 60 in the brand new 2025 Kia EV9 GT edition. So we got it in sport mode, and let's see what it does. 5.06 seconds. You know, I think it's rated for 4.5 seconds, but I do have Uncle Steve in the car with me here. You know, being 7'2", he adds quite a bit of weight. Although it is not as fast as a Tesla or even a Rivian. I believe the Rivians have over 800 horsepower, and obviously the Tesla is the fastest EV on the market. This thing is quick. So if you want to race around or anything like that, you've got that option too. That's actually one of the differences between this model and the lower trims. So on this model, you get a little less distance in your EV battery, which we'll talk about this more later, but you do get more horsepower. And this one is also all-wheel drive, which we'll talk about more later with Uncle Steve.
Let's talk about the powertrain. So they have 5 different models, have 2 different powertrain. The rear-wheel drive one and the all-wheel drive one. The rear-wheel drive one is a single motor, and the all-wheel drive, of course, dual motor. One in the front, one in the back. So the base model, Kia call it light rear-wheel drive, and then they also have light long-range rear-wheel drive. The battery capacity for the base model is 76.1 kilowatt and producing 215 horsepower. The range for the base model is 230 miles range, which is not, in my opinion, is not much. And then for the long range, they have big capacity battery, which is 99.8 kilowatt. However, it has less horsepower. It's only have 201 compared to 215. You can have longer range, which is 304 miles. And then the neck trimmer for the all-wheel drive is, they call it Wind, Land, and the GT-Line. So the Wind and Land model have same battery capacity and producing 370 horsepower and 443 foot-pound of torque, and the range is 270 miles. For the GT-Line, everything is same except the torque, from 443 to 560 foot-pound of torque. For the charging time, if you have a fast charger, from 0% to 80% in 25 minutes. I believe in today's standards, this is pretty normal. For the warranty, Hyundai and Kia always offer the best warranty in the US. They offer 10 years and 100,000 miles, even on the EV. And not only that, they also have 5-star safety rating. And I believe that because we tested, right, Josh?
Yes, we did. It won't cut off your fingers. Now, Steve, I know this is your first time driving an EV, so right now we've got the sound off and I just turned it on, so it does make the fake engine noises. What do you like more?
Well, let me try it. The fake engine noise, it sounds like a jet engine.
It does.
I kind of like it because I like how turbo sounds. Wow, it's like a... Actually, it's more than a jet engine. It's like a spaceship.
All you need is to strap a booster onto the back.
It's make you feel like you're in the like Star Wars or something.
Right? Yeah, it's like a jet fighter.
So I like both actually. I like no sound or with fake engine sounds. So overall, I really like almost everything except the price. You know, in my opinion, it's it is still a Kia, and the price tag is like, for this model, I think it's 70,000. Wow.
Well, getting into that, Steve, actually, let's go over the pricing.
Sure.
So today we're driving the EV9 GT, but let's start at the bottom. The light rear-wheel drive only model starts out at $56,395. The light long-range rear-wheel drive model starts at $60,695. Wind all-wheel drive starts at $65,395. Land all-wheel drive starts at $71,395. And for a Kia EV9 GT that we are driving today, you're going to pay $75,395, which is $10,000 more than the most expensive Telluride.
In my opinion, like, if the price down to like 65,000, then I might consider good, or even 68 or under, a little bit under 70,000, then I will kind of consider like to purchase this. But like I said, the price is a big concern, you know. I really wish they can lower the price in the future, but I'm sure they will, especially everybody doing really EV and mass production, you know.
Yeah, I think especially as like technology advances and things like that, we'll probably see prices drop. Or who knows, maybe the government puts out more incentives for people to buy EVs, so that helps knock that price down too.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. What do you think, Josh? What do you think about this vehicle overall?
You know, I actually really like it. If I needed a family vehicle, I'd buy this. Yeah, if I wanted an EV anyways. The range is actually not that great, so that's a big negative.
Yeah.
I do like to take road trips. The last road trip I took was about 2,800 miles, so think about how often I'm stopping.
Yeah, especially for the base model, only 230 miles. That's kind of, you're paying like $55,000.
Yeah,
right? So I think the base model a little bit overpriced, but this model is, I would say, still okay for 75 compared to other EV.
Yeah, in conclusion, in my opinion, I think this is actually fantastic. It's got just about every single feature you could ever want. Between all the different driver assistance features or the different modes, you know, everything is there and available to you. Yeah. I think that what the seats can do is absolutely awesome. There's storage everywhere, power everywhere. You got huge windows, huge sunroof. I think it's fantastic. It feels great. I love captain chairs in the second row, and they're heated and ventilated. There's really not a lot of cons other than the price and range.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, there you have it. We do actually love the new EV9 GT. So let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash up the likes, and catch us on our next video.